Welcome back to the Alex Weber Show. I am so excited to welcome on Julienne Smith, the Chief Development Officer for IHG Hotels and Resorts. I had the good fortune to spend 2 days speaking and working with the leaders of IHG in Atlanta. As you'll see, Julienne is such an incredible leader and human being, and I immediately wanted to have her on the podcast. So I am just so grateful that she shared her time, her insights, her wisdom. You're gonna want a pen and paper for this one, and let's dive in. So great seeing you.
Great to see you, Alex.
How I love starting these podcasts is, we have leaders throughout our lives. And who was the first leader in your life that really made an impact on you? Maybe it was a parent, a loved one, a teacher, a coach, someone in the community, or even a book. But who was the first leader that really had an impact on you?
You know, it's interesting. I could answer that in a lot of ways, but since you opened it up to sort of any time in life, you know who pops up for me is a teacher I had through middle school and high school. I grew up in a really small town, very small school, 6 grades, and each grade had like 50 people, right? So
Okay.
it's really small. And we had this mechanical drawing teacher, Mr. C, and he was someone who really saw each of us as people. You know, not are you doing your homework? Did you do well on the test? What's your grade? Just like really saw us. And he made an impact on me because he made me feel like I can be myself, my authentic self, and there's value in that. And when I look at different mentors and leaders I've had throughout my career who I've really resonated with and done well reporting to, let's say, they've always valued my unique skill set and what I bring and the personality that I have behind it versus like trying to mold me into somebody else.
That's so powerful. And it's such a lesson that applies to business. Sometimes I think we can fall in the trap of a person is a deliverable, and it's so much more than that, like you're saying. And it's so beautiful to have experienced that at such a young age.
Yeah. I mean, we all have strengths and weaknesses or opportunities, right? And it's about cultivating those strengths and then finding ways to make up for or have support for those areas of growth. And it's, not fitting yourself into somebody else's mold or somebody else's expectations.
So powerful. And I had the good fortune of spending 2 days with you and the IHG family, which was incredible. Just the energy and passion in that group. So now, as a leader at IHG, what are pillars or foundational tools that you lean on each day?
Yeah. Well, I would say, leading with vulnerability and authenticity, right? So I engage with my team pretty deeply and directly across the organization, not just about who reports to me directly. And I'm very open and vocal about, um, my mistakes I might make or have made and how I've learned from them. And I feel like that gives my team the ability and the comfort
Yeah.
to fail, right? And we
Wow.
don't grow and evolve as humans,
Yeah.
as organizations, as teams if we're not finding the edges and failing. And that's scary. Especially, I work for a publicly traded company. We don't want to fail. We need to grow, right? But if we don't push the boundaries,
Yeah.
we're not going to grow in the ways that we expect to grow. So I think a lot of sort of authentic connection. I try to be empathetic to a degree. Sometimes, I don't want to be the therapist couch either. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that I have to balance that somewhat. But I engage pretty deeply with my team, and I give super honest feedback, and I expect honest feedback in return.
Incredible. I mean, that is truly leading by example. And just to deep dive on that for a moment, because I think so many leaders have a problem with how can I be seen failing? Doesn't that
Mm.
mean that, oh gosh, are people going to have question marks about me or things like that? How do you approach experiencing or sharing failure with the team so that it's this uplifting, confidence building, even thing?
Mm. Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I think it's when I share examples of where I've made mistakes or where I've lost deals, we're on the deal side of the hotel business and showing kind of the outcome and how I could have done things differently. I think showing that path of like, okay, I didn't get fired, no one died, we got through it, and just kind of showing those examples really help. And that allows to, let someone push the boundaries a little bit and also share, hey, I did this and that happened. So I think it's sharing examples. I mean, I think that's the best answer that I could give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, as leaders, it is tough at times. It's such a rewarding position, but it's also hard and challenging in moments. Are there any? I really just loved how you and I and the team, we spoke about how we can set ourselves up for success and take care of ourselves. Are there any tools or activities or habits in your life right now that help set you up for success as a leader, especially when times are tough?
Yeah, I would say I came up with this when I was a mom of small kids. My kids are now teenagers, but when they were little, I was really stretched between running my career,
Yeah.
being a mom, being a wife, all the things, being involved in my community, going to the gym, trying to do it.
Yeah.
I built into my day sort of five non-negotiables. So they are, rest, hydration, nutrition, meditation, and movement.
Hmm.
And I try to get all five of those things into my day in some way. And usually it starts with going to the gym. Doesn't happen every day. So at least it means I'm walking to the Starbucks near our office, which is like a 20-minute round trip thing. It's some kind of movement, fresh air, kind of getting out there. So I've really learned to build that in. And another piece I want to talk about, which ladders into the previous question a bit, is we can be really outcome focused, right? And forget about kind of the process in which we need to take to get to those outcomes. And that might include sort of self-care and all those kinds of things. But what it also includes is when I have certain goals and my team has certain goals or individuals do, we've got to stay focused on sort of the principles of what we're doing versus the personalities of people who are judging what we're doing, right?
Hmm.
And there's this phrase, principles before personalities,
That's
right?
great.
And I really take a lot of value in that, because sometimes when I am making a mistake or I'm doing something or I'm taking that time in the middle of the day to exercise or take a break or whatever it is, and there's judgment around that, that can derail a person if you're not rooted in sort of, I'm doing this because of X, Y, and Z, right? And get kind of derailed. So I do encourage my team, don't worry about the noise. Don't worry about what other people are thinking and saying. Like, you need to focus and kind of, lock in, as I say to my kids right now. So,
That's so powerful. And
yeah.
again, truly it's you being the example of that. Because I've picked up on that. I feel so fortunate to join different cultures and companies, and sometimes there is that judgment lens of, should this person be doing this? And that's so powerful. Principles before personalities. And that's what leads to the results that we want. I love that.
That's right. That's right.
One more question, and I'm circling back because I love those. I believe there's five foundational habits or pillars that you lean on each day. Have you found, and I love how you underlined, it doesn't have to be, maybe you're not going to get all five. And even if you get a few, that might not be all the time that you want, but even a little bit wins. Have you found in your life that, say you can't get the five or you can't get the three, is there one or two that you're like, I need this one and I know that that'll fuel me?
I need rest.
Yeah.
Sleep has been absolutely paramount in my life. And I used to, and it might be about just getting older, right? But I used to be able to really get on with 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep. Caffeine worked really well, whatever. I cannot any longer. I mean, I need 7, 8 hours of sleep to really function and be my best. Otherwise, I get grumpy, I get agitated, I don't have the brain capacity, the patience, all of those things. So I would say sleep I really prioritize, which is difficult in what I do when we go to so many conferences and so many owner engagement events. There's dinners, there's after parties. And a number of years ago, I just stopped going to the after parties. And at first, people would text me and say, "Where are you? What's going on?" And that sort of dwindled over time. And then people realized that maybe breakfast meetings or lunch meetings would be a better cadence with me
Yeah.
than, let's catch up at the cocktail reception. And that was a shift for me, and sort of a guardrail I had to put down, that I need my sleep. So I'd say sleep and hydration, those are probably the two things that I absolutely need to be on top of.
And that's so powerful. It goes back to principles before personalities. You set up, this is what I need to succeed. And then it's beautiful. People respond to that.
That's
So
right.
it's really, you live it. And I'm so thankful to share time with you. It was so wonderful being there for 2 days, getting to know you, getting to know the team. And thank you for sharing your time here today.
Well, I love what you're doing, Alex. You're such a powerful person and personality, in our industry and in the world in general. And I really wish you so much luck with what you're continuing to do.
Thank you so much. Principles over personalities. How great was that episode? Thank you to Julienne Smith. Thank you to you. And this is all about leading beyond changes and challenges to be unstoppable, to get to the goals that matter most. Thanks again. We'll see you right back here.